What is probate? You may hear or read a lot that estate planning is the way to avoid probate. Probate is simply the court system. It's a court system. Every state has their own probate court system where a judge says who is in charge of an estate. So if you pass away, who is in charge of making sure that your assets go to the heirs that are entitled to them? It's also a court system to make sure that if someone is a minor or an incapacitated adult, that they have someone who a judge has selected to be in charge of that person's assets and that person's medical decision making. So one way to think of it is that probate court is the plan, so to speak, for people who don't have a plan. If you haven't done estate planning to avoid probate court, you're leaving it up for a probate judge to figure it out. And what that probate judge will figure out is who's in charge of your assets, who's in charge of your finances if you're incapacitated, who's in charge of your minor children if something happens to you and you leave them behind, who's in charge of gathering your assets and inventorying them and paying your creditors, and ultimately distributing your estate to your heirs. That's where a probate judge is having to fill in the gaps. It's a court proceeding. When your family or loved ones have to go through probate to help you or your estate, they get a case number. It's just like any other legal proceedings in that the court records are public and a judge is deciding things along the way. Probate is not a must when it comes to estate planning. You can actually avoid probate with your estate plan if you sit down and actually put things in writing ahead of time. But to the extent that any estate planning you did online or in a do-it-yourself fashion missed a few key components, or to the extent you didn't do an estate plan at all, then probate is kind of the fill in the gaps for your plan.